It's a sad reality that I won't be here as long as Akhona will be here.
That's the one compromise from my side, to protect my peace and like also the love of my life.
I think when people first see us, they think, oh,
Oh, absolutely. There are benefits to like Derek being like older.
we actually eloped.
Oh my gosh, like we didn't even know this was happening. Why were we not invited?
We went to the one place, never can stay here. The person fell off the chair when they saw Akhona at the show house. My name is Derek Sarah. I'm 61 years old.
And the name is Akhona Sarah, and I'm 33.
I grew up in Cape Town. My father was a working class person. He worked in the building trade. And I grew up in a sort of working class neighborhood in Cape Town. Although my family are originally from Sicily, I'm born and bred in Cape Town.
I was born in Port Elizabeth. I grew up there. I went to school there up until I moved to Cape Town, and I went to university in Cape Town. When I was growing up in Port Elizabeth, it was actually really nice. I had a very nice childhood. I was raised by my grandmother with my cousins and my aunts. We were a very big family. So it was amazing.
I used to own a casting agency which put people into TV commercials and movies. And Akhona had come with friends from university to come and join the agency. So then she had to come and have a separate photo shoot at the big studio of our agency, which I did. I saw potential in her. She's a very intelligent person, but she was at university. She obviously, still coming into her own.
It took long for us to actually get together because I was very nervous because obviously like how I grew up and also the kind of people that I was around, I was more nervous about our age difference and what people were going to think, because back then I really did care a lot about what people thought about me, because I hadn't also kind of like gotten out of the idea of what I grew up with, of like, oh, you must be like this for like the world and society. And so I cared quite a bit. But then I realized that, you know what, like I really like this person and I can't stop thinking about this person. So I might as well, see where this goes.
I said, well, listen, why don't we just go and see a movie?
Yeah.
You can just go to see a movie at the waterfront. He's like, oh no, I can't go to the waterfront with you. My uncle could see us walking around there.
I remember.
I'd invite her to come and watch like a DVD at my house rather. But of course, for me also, it wasn't something that was part of my reality at the time. We lived life very much according to what we were told in terms of the government controlled media and stuff like that. So there was very little contact with people of other races until I went to university. So when I went to University of Cape Town, it was already a mixed university. And that was the first time I could mix with people of my own age that were equal to me in all ways, intellectually and whatever. So I was very fortunate in that, to have that experience.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything that was expected. And I mean, because of the age difference, you'd think we would be very different in terms of tastes in music or movies. But strangely enough, not.
Yeah.
She actually quite likes a lot of the more classic music, like classic rock and stuff like that. So we have a lot in common.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah.
I would mostly say like just our conversations. I can't remember what we were really talking about then. We talked about everything. But it was always exciting. Because Derek is a very good storyteller as well. So it's always like this thing of like, we have like very good conversations that keep like each other on each other's toes. Like we always are challenging one another. Even now, like we will have like discussions about things. The first time I introduced like even the concept of Derek was like to these two friends of mine from like Port Elizabeth. And I was just telling them, but they were very like supportive, very kind, very like, very understanding. And even when I actually like spoke to my mom about it, I was actually very shocked by her response, how she responded to it. And she was like, well, if that's the person that you love, then I fully like support it. And he treats you well and you guys treat each other well. I really support that. And it was interesting for me because the way that she responded was not like everybody else. It was so like, I know who you are, so I know that you are not doing this for the wrong reason. I know that you're doing it for the right reason. But yeah, with my family, yeah, they love you.
No, well, my family, fortunately, we had already a marriage, interracial marriage years ago in our family. So it wasn't anything like, shocking or whatever. And my mother absolutely loves Akhona. We're actually going to fetch my mother on Wednesday to bring her here to visit here by us. But my mother's quite sharp because I had a previous girlfriend. My mother didn't like her at all.
Get rid of that.
So it's who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And so I always find it incredible that when you know you're a good person and where people generally acknowledge that you're a good person, that some people will still insist on not accepting that.
Yeah.
But, for us, what we do is we just don't have dealings with such people. We're positive people. Negativity, toxic sort of approach to life, go and do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's blocking someone. If someone's harassing you on Facebook or on WhatsApp and you block them, they disappear from your reality.
That's
you don't have to worry about it.
Existed.
And so we do exactly the same thing with people that are going to be full of nonsense and troublesome and hateful and spiteful and negative. You just don't have any dealings with them. And to you, they don't exist. They can go and be miserable somewhere else.
What I love the most about Derek is honestly his heart. He's a very loving person and giving person, and he cares a lot about people. I remember when I first met him, and I thought to myself, because he would tell me about people that I don't even know, and I'm like, what is he talking about? Talking about these people that I don't know. And then I met his mom, and I was like, oh. Because his mother is exactly the same, always just telling you about people and just introducing you to different aspects of life and different facets of other people and different stories. And he would get phone calls from strangers. When he used to have a business called Classic Camper, whereby he was buying classic combis and renovating them and then renting them out to people. And then people would actually call him and then be like, oh, hi, I'm thinking of buying a combi, but I don't know anything about it. He would spend an hour talking to a stranger on the phone. Then he doesn't know this person, but he's spending all this time. He's oh, no, because I want to help them because they don't know anything. So he's that kind of person. Even during COVID, he started an organization called Soup for Seniors, which is still running till today. Whereby they feed seniors. I think now there's maybe 20 seniors, and they get fed I think weekly, and they also get food parcels and things like that. So he's always doing something that's going to be to the benefit of other people, and he always wants to share. He never wants to have just everything for himself.
The thing with Akhona is she's a completely truthful, honest person. Apart from the fact that she's beautiful and all the obvious things, But that's funny. People often say, "Oh, you're so lucky to have such a beautiful wife," as if that's now the prime kind of thing, Yeah. That's a side issue for me. But as a person, deep down inside, it's very difficult actually to find a partner that is open and honest and not unstable. And for me, the most exciting thing is her ability to learn new things and to go outside of her comfort zone and do things like her friends. She's got friends that were at university with her. When they hear, oh, we're going to go to Antarctica. Wow! Never will consider it, And then, oh, we're going to the tribe in the Amazon. What? Never, So I found a partner that even though it wasn't her dream to go to some of these places, some of the places was my childhood dream to go to some. She was willing to go to. We had some quite scare, hair-raising encounters traveling. She was willing to go on these adventures with me, and then also absorb it and learn and grow as a person.
What I would say that I like the least about Derek is that it's not a bad thing, but it can be bad. It's actually the fact that he actually always sees the best in people. Sometimes even people that are kind of a detriment to him and to us. And that's where I then come in, because he's really good at discerning and being, but I'm overly discerning because
Radar.
growing up in a house with like 10 to 15 people, and then you see like someone coming to visit, and then someone like one of our aunties would be like, oh, we love you so much, and be so nice and kind to this person. The moment they leave, they would gossip about everything about this person. So I was like, what the heck? So as a child, that programs you to actually think to yourself, okay, people can be like this and they can be like this. So growing up with a lot of people made me very hyper aware of how sneaky people can be.
The only thing about Akhona that is a weakness is untidiness. She's working on it. She has phases. Phases where she tries hard and then it collapses again. But well, we can't be perfect, you know. I'm not the tidiest person either.
So I was waiting for that.
So when it comes to lobola, let me put it from so I come from a Sicilian family. So in our culture, the bride and her family pay all the costs of the wedding, and the man only covers alcohol. That's how it is. And on top of that, the bride must bring with her a dowry. A dowry. What is she bringing to the marriage? Is she bringing a whole equipment for the house, bedding, crockery and cutlery, some family heirlooms? That's how it works in the Italian culture, right? So, look, obviously I wasn't a young man when we decided to get married. So I said to her, so what are we going to do about this? Because now obviously lobola is like the opposite of that. So as far as we were concerned, it kind of cancelled each other out. We covered our own costs, you know. So it was quite interesting. But what we did was we actually eloped.
Yeah.
So we decided to get married, and then COVID was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, like every time you wanted to make plans, oh no, now there's a lockdown again. You're not allowed to have a guest at a wedding and whatever. So when there was a gap, we decided let's use this opportunity. And we did an 18-day road trip because we love adventure. We did an 18-day road trip in the 4x4 with a rooftop tent, and we drove up to the Drakensberg, and we got married at Cathedral Peak, which is a famous wedding venue. Got married there, and then we came back along the way. You know, so a total of 18 days.
The only people we knew were actually our families, and I think maybe like super close friends, but to be honest, I don't know actually.
No, we kept sort of on the low down.
We were very, very like low down about it, and then people only knew that when we posted a photo saying we just got married. Our families already knew, so they were like excited, obviously, but then everyone else was like freaking out because they were like, "Oh my gosh! Like we didn't even know this was happening. Why were we not invited?" Like, you know.
We love traveling,
and
this was the perfect way to do this for us. You know,
no one tried to like talk us out of like the whole idea. No one was very cool. To be honest with you, when it comes to me and my family, the only people's opinions that I really cared about are my mother's and my grandmother's, not anyone else. After we got married, and I think it was probably like my grandmother's funeral, and one uncle was like asking me, "Oh, so what are we going to do? Because we still need to handle like getting the lobola." I said, "Well, that's not going to happen. So I think we're going to have to find another like thing to focus on because that's not going to be a thing."
I had a very, very close friend, Sipo. He used to say to me, "Don't worry, I'll handle the lobola negotiation." Yeah. He was a very culturally traditional person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he passed away at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even there, like if we would have wanted that, you know.
Yeah.
Together we've traveled to 21 countries.
But you've been to
and we spent a lot of time in those countries, sometimes in the countryside of those countries or by the beach or whatever. And we just got to the point where we felt the city was getting very busy, very crowded, people driving like maniacs, crime, you know, all this type of thing. And so we thought, no, man, we in a position where we can afford to move elsewhere. Let's just start looking. So for 8 months, we would go on weekends away to different villages. We wanted to be within 300 kilometers of Cape Town. So we weren't like in the Bundu somewhere.
Yeah.
And we went to various towns and villages, and eventually we came to Napier, and we went to the village market on a Saturday because we came obviously on the weekend. And within an hour, we'd already become friendly with some people and everything. And we didn't see any obvious kind of racist sort of things. We'd had that in other places when we looked. We thought we went to the one place, we never can stay here. Yeah. The person fell off their chair when they saw Akhona at the show house. Yeah. So we felt this could be the place, and we found a very, very nice place here. It's very Mediterranean. It fits very much into our lifestyle.
Yeah.
You think there's people who have come here have said, this could be somewhere in Europe or overseas. It doesn't look like it's just in a village in the Western Cape.
It's been really cool moving to the countryside because everything is just incredible. Like I remember the other day I was busy in the kitchen and then I stopped and I'm like, oh my gosh, what bird is that? And then I called Derek, and then Derek comes, and then we're listening to this bird. It was singing so beautifully.
I think when people first see us, they think, oh, what will they have in common? They must never speak to each other. They probably just stay away when they go out. So we've seen couples like that in restaurants at places. They've got nothing to say. We have a lot in common, and we developed common interests together, of course. But the age difference hasn't made any impact on this relationship at all. I mean, it seems strange, but it's actually true.
Yeah.
It's a sad reality that I won't be here as long as Akhona will be here, So I worry that what will happen when I become very old and feeble in maybe 30 years' time. My father passed away at 96. So I come from a family with longevity, fortunately. But we make the best of life. We live a very full life. We're not wasting any time sitting around. So we still have many good years ahead of us. But that is something that is, obviously, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
If we were the same age, we wouldn't have met.
Oh, absolutely. There are benefits to Derek being older and wiser and knowing certain things that I possibly wouldn't know.
The fact that Akhona is younger than me means that she's also more in touch with what is happening in another sphere of the world, that maybe with TikTok, for instance. I'm not a TikToker. She's a very active TikToker. And so I've learned about those things, which probably I would never have had any, notion of. I'm quite an active, adventurous person. And so having a younger wife has actually been beneficial. We've climbed, as I said, climbed volcanoes. We've been in the Amazon forest. We've done all kinds of things together. And I don't think that maybe somebody the same age as me would have been willing to do that stuff. So I see a definite benefit of being with my wife. Yeah. We know when people are racist towards us. I don't tolerate it. But I know that we have had situations where we've met people and just talked to people that are sitting next to us, and that we seem to have a good conversation. And then later on, maybe the next day, they avoid us because they've obviously had a conversation among the wife or the husband. One of the two has had a prejudice, and we're not sure if it's my age or it's a race thing or what it is. So there have been those things, but we are very resilient. And we know who we are, and we know the nature of this relationship. And it's not based on any strange, sinister things. We met, we found each other, we are soulmates, and we are just in unlikely bodies.
I was very intentional in terms of the kind of people that I kind of introduced him to, because as I got older and things started working out really well for me, a lot of the people in my family were not so for that, which is very strange, because you would think that people who are like your direct family, actually not just distant relatives, would wish you well. But when I didn't get pregnant at an early age, or certain things didn't fall apart for me, and I graduated uni, I did really well for myself, people started having a lot of strange chatter around me. So when I knew that I was going to be with Derek, I was very intentional on keeping him away from that. That's why when it comes to my family, I think the only people that he kind of interacts with, I would say actually all my cousins that he's met, because I love them absolutely, and my mom, and my little niece and my one aunt. that's the one compromise from my side to protect my peace and like also the love of my life.
And I was talking to Akhona about this already many times. I think the problem is that people who are very racist can't imagine that we could be together and have a successful relationship. And the fact that we can do it in a way invalidates all their beliefs about a black person. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I know I'm a well-traveled, intelligent, educated man. I'm successful. And the fact that I chose to be with this woman, for some people, is a real poke in the eye. You know what I mean? But they can't face the reality that she is a person I want to be with, and I've chosen from all the millions of potential women I could have married, I married Akhona. So that's very difficult to face because it means it invalidates all your prejudices, all those sort of funny things you've based your whole life on. And so they struggle with it. And instead of facing it and admitting that they were wrong and trying to change the way they look at it, they'd rather hate on you and then backstab and spread a story. So unfortunately, that's how the world is. That's how some people are, but they don't make up the majority of people.
If two people find each other and then they decide to be together, like as Derek said, like the most important thing is like what they think about each other, not what anyone else thinks. I mean, I remember even like for me, when I graduated in uni, I remember thinking my qualification is like my gift to my mom and my granny. But from this point on, I'm doing what I want and I'm living for myself. So that's like, it was a very big, like kind of like pivot. I mean, we were already together, but I mean, it was like a pivotal year for me because that's when I really made that decision. So yeah, people must just do what's best for them and cancel out the noise. And that's the most important thing.